All right, so it's time to take a look at Galaxy of Fear, Book 8, The Swarm by John Whitman. Now, this one has Captain Thrawn in it, which is interesting. We have our first Zahn connection. So basically, all the cameos from the Star Wars cameos have been movie cameos, even with like background characters like from Tales of the Mos Eisley Cantina. They've all been movie. So this is the first time we get a straight up expanded universe character as like a cameo, but he's not really a cameo. He's a main character in this. So Hool takes Zack and Tash to a planet where the the creatures on it are descendants of bugs. They're bug people, and they have little wings that they communicate to each other with. It's called wing song is the language, and everything in the planet is like in harmony with one another. And so when Zack accidentally messes up the shroud, which for some reason this is a weird thing that is not explained in Galaxy of Fear that I will nitpick here. Because Book 7 didn't make it clear what they were flying until the end of it, which is why I didn't even bring it up in the last review. So the Shroud is Dr. Evison's ship that at the end of Galaxy of Fear Book 2, um, Hool's like, we'll just take this ship. And so they've been flying Evison's ship ever since. But at the beginning of the Army of Terror, that ship gets mangled. They crash it, and it's beyond repair. But I guess it wasn't beyond repair because they're flying it again in the next book. And I know some things have happened, like DV9 is no longer part of the crew, and but like it's very clear this is the Shroud they're flying. How'd they get it off that dead planet from book 6? Did the Millennium Falcon tow it? Can the Millennium Falcon tow the Shroud? The Shroud seems like a big ship about the equivalent size of the Millennium Falcon. And the only thing I've ever seen the Millennium Falcon tow is Luke's X-Wing on occasion. And that's a one-man fighter. Does it have the I don't know, they probably wouldn't call it horsepower, maybe bantha power in the engine to like drag that to a planet? How much money did Hool have to throw in to put the thing back together? It had multiple hull breaches. There were literally boulders sticking through it. I don't know. It's a kid's book, but like that makes me wonder. And that made me wonder at the end of book 7 because they never say it until the end that they're flying the Shroud. So this it's explicitly clear that they're flying the Shroud, and then Zack's just tinkering with things because that's what Zack does. He tinkers with machinery. It's his specialty. He accidentally plugs something into the wrong port and he fries the engine. And he makes a big mess of things. And he doesn't say anything, and then they land, and then they can't take off again. So they're basically stranded until Hool can make repairs to the ship. Meanwhile, this book's really Zack focused, which is nice. We haven't had a Zack focused book. But Zack picks up a bug and then gets attacked by a bat thing, and he accidentally kills the bat thing, and he's messed up the ecosystem. So a lot of this book is just Zack's fault, and he's just being a dumb kid. You know, like, here's the thing. The first 5 Galaxy of Fear books, the Arandos have not been allowed to be kids. And like, so it's hard to remember that they're still, like, well, Zack's a preteen, Tash is, like, a newly teen. They're kids. You know, they do stupid kid things. So I'm, like, forgiving that Tash was angsty in the last book. This one, she's still angsty. At least it's towards the Imperials, but like she says some whack things that I'm just like, as an adult, you're like, this is not what you'd say to someone who's carrying a blaster. Like, she's straight up antagonistic towards Thrawn, and he could kill her at any moment, but like, she's an angsty teen, so it's forgivable. She's a kid. She's gonna say things. I'm just like, jeez. But this is a more Zack oriented book, and it really deals with there's a cat outside the window that is just staring at me, and then staring at my one of my cats in here. It's very distracting. I just want to throw that out there because I keep looking over here. I'm still paying attention, but like there's a distraction. Anyway, um, so so this book's really about telling the truth and not putting off. Even if it's hard to tell the truth, you should always be honest and tell the truth. That's kind of the theme with this. We get a lot of bug horror because he killed one of the bat things. The bugs, the beetles, are taking over the planet. But there's more at stake here, and there's more things going on. But for a long time, Zach thinks it's his fault, and he takes the blame. It's interesting. It's good character stuff with Zach, who's just the goofy younger brother with the skimboard. Um, it's nice to see him do stuff. Hool, it's still things with Hool where he's afraid to come to Hool with stuff because Hool's so stern. Thrawn's interesting. This is my one complaint with it. It's too much Thrawn. And I get that Thrawn is Captain Thrawn in this. He's not Grand Admiral Thrawn. And there is a character difference. But I think it's too much of a difference for this book. Sometimes Thrawn feels like Thrawn. Other times he just feels like generic Imperial officer. And he does kind of dumb things that Thrawn, the character Thrawn, wouldn't do. I won't spoil it. Also, there is a blatant continuity error where throughout this book I've said that he's Captain Thrawn. Except for in one paragraph, he's suddenly General Thrawn. I don't know how editorial missed that. Like, I'm not going to blame John Whitman per se for that, because you have editors for a reason. But yeah, no, he's General Thrawn in like one paragraph. And he's back to Captain Thrawn. But anyway, what did I think of this one? It's really solid. It's a really solid one. It's probably my second favorite thus far. I have to give it a good 4.8 out of 5. Despite like some minor issues I had with it, it's a pretty good book. And again, self-contained, other than the overarching like fear of being caught by the Imperials, which adds another horror element to this, which is kind of neat. So, anyway, have a nice day.